When an incident happens at your site, very often equipment is involved, and it's very easy to blame shoddy equipment.
It is, yeah.
But that isn't always what the case is. Very often, there is a human element involved that we're going to show you how to find, and it can really change the outcome of what your corrective actions are going to be, and hopefully make sure that equipment works well in the future so these incidents don't happen again. So Ken Reed's here with us today, our Equifactor expert, and he's going to show us through an example of what we're talking about.
Right. That's a great lead-in for that. It's amazing how many companies, when they decide that there's an equipment problem, are focused on the equipment, and which is obvious. That's the way it should be. However, when your corrective actions are coming up, we have found it's pretty rare that it's actually a purely equipment issue. It's pretty rare. It's almost always more involved than just that piece of equipment failing. So I have an example that I'm going to kind of go through here on the software to show you what that looks like. Yeah. So this would be a very typical kind of example that you might see during, get a phone call and say, hey, we were doing our maintenance checks. We installed the pump and we did our performance tests and it failed. The pump was not putting out enough water. So you go in and you start doing your troubleshooting at this point. And I'll use Equifactor a little bit to kind of show how the equipment piece of this goes and how the equipment troubleshooting would go. So you would come over and say, well, this is all we know right now. We removed the pump from service, we rebuilt it, installed it, and now it failed the test. Now, what I probably would do is go to my equipment people and say, what do you think?
Right.
And they'd say, well, make sure the valves are open and make sure it's the power is right on it, make sure it's spinning fast enough, and all those kind of easy checks.
Right. And important.
It is. That's always your first step in your troubleshooting. And then when you get stuck, if you can't find it at that point, then you would go into one of our optional techniques, and this would be the Equifactor technique in this case. And we have a lot of extra stuff in here that we kind of played with here, but as an example, I'm going to pull up our low flow example here in our Equifactor tables. And what these tables have are a list of different pieces of equipment to help you with your troubleshooting. And you can see we got a lot of different stuff here, but one of the options that you can use for troubleshooting tables are the pumps tables. So we can open those up, and I would ask my equipment expert, Benna, what kind of pump is this? And,
centrifugal.
And you would tell me it's a centrifugal pump. And I'd say, well, thank you, and now I know what pump to troubleshoot.
And I don't even have my glasses.
So we'd open that up, and here's a whole bunch of different problems you might see with a centrifugal pump. And you and your equipment expert would sit down and kind of read through these. And here's one that says insufficient capacity. That's the problem we're having.
Yes.
So we'd open that up and it would give me a large number of possible causes of low capacity on a centrifugal pump.
A lot.
It has a bunch. Yeah, these are all built into the software. You can add your own if you wish, but these are the ones that come built into the software. And you and your equipment expert would go down through and we'd say, well, could it be a discharge valve not fully open? And we already determined, nope, valves were all open, everything was okay. But you'd go through and any possible problems that you'd find, you'd work your way through. And we found maybe, what did we find here? 4 possible things that could cause this low flow in our pump.
Right.
So what's really cool is I can take these and I can send them right over to my snap chart. Just by clicking on this little guy here, it sends it directly over there for me. Yeah, I know.
It makes it so easy.
It makes it so simple when you're trying to get these over. It used to be you had to retype all these in, and
Not
now
anymore.
It just pops it over there for you. So I'll just get this out of my way. And what we have now in our drop zone are those 4 possible problems. And you would just take these and you drag them over. So the impeller was too small. That probably happened when we rebuilt the pump in the shop. And the impeller was installed backwards. That probably occurred here in the shop when they rebuilt the pump. Pump rotating backwards. That's probably where they installed it. They wired it up wrong, so it rotates backwards. Obstructions in the pump housing, so that would go down here. So these would all be possible causes that we give out to our troubleshooting team, and they would go out and troubleshoot.
Right.
They would check to see, maybe they'd do a quick check on the pump and see if it's rotating the right way, and but they do a bunch of different checks. And maybe we find, in this particular case, that the impeller was actually installed backwards. So this is already shifted from an equipment problem.
Right.
To
the equipment hasn't actually failed.
It has not.
There was a human involved.
There was a human involved. And as soon as humans get involved, then you have issues.
Yes.
And this is where...
Not on purpose.
That's exactly right. At this point, all we know is that it's installed backwards. And your snap chart, I'm going to pull up a different version here so you can kind of see what this might look like. But your snap chart might look something like this. Hey, the impeller was installed backwards by the mechanic.
Wow, so let's blame the mechanic.
That's what most companies would do at this point. They shifted from the equipment now, and they've shifted to blaming the operator.
Yep.
And in this case, we could say, well, of course, the mechanic did install the impeller backwards. But now we get into
more training.
It must be training, right? Or it needs to be counseled. We need to counsel the mechanic and the importance of installing the impeller the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure if I went and talked to this mechanic, he probably knows how to do this.
All right.
So what we want to do is do a little bit more root cause analysis.
We're going to dig deeper.
We're going to dig a little bit deeper and see how these equipment issues are really human performance problems. So my final snap chart might, after doing some interviews and doing some record reviews, and it might look more like this, where we found that, yeah, the mechanic installed it backwards, but hey, the impeller actually let me put it in backwards. It wasn't keyed to make sure it only went one way. There was no supervisor there. He had had brief training, but he's never performed this job before. So this is a brand new guy, and we just sent him out there to go put this impeller on. They did have a procedure at the job site, but it said nothing about putting the impeller on the right way. So these might be some of the things that we found about why this really smart guy, I'm sure this mechanic,
absolutely.
We don't hire dumb people.
No, we don't.
We hire smart people. So here's a really smart guy, made a mistake in rebuilding this pump. And instead of just yelling at this mechanic or firing him and hope the next guy does a better job,
we
right?
don't want to do that.
That's not going to work. So what we're going to do now is dig beyond the equipment problem, beyond the mistake, and get into the human performance issues that led to this mechanic, smart guy, making these mistakes.
So this impeller not keyed for proper orientation, is that kind of possibly a manufacturing thing that you need to go back, a quality issue?
Exactly. This is something either was done inadvertently, or there's a good chance that maybe it's an older pump that just was never keyed this way. It's actually possible now to actually key your stuff if you wish.
Great.
It's not the normal way of doing it. Usually you buy it that way. But you can actually mark it yourself. Maybe it's not hard keyed, but it says top and bottom is stamped on it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Isn't that easy?
So you could throw those into your corrective actions.
That's right. This might be a corrective action that goes in. So we would then go and take a look at what would we want to do now to help this guy out, and we would run this through our root cause analysis. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of minimize this out of my way a little bit, and we would go in and do a root cause analysis on why this impeller is installed backwards. And I'm not going to go through the whole root cause tree here. In fact, I probably won't even pull that up. What I'll really show here are these root causes that we may have come up with here. I know they're a little bit small on your screen, but we would find that maybe the situation was not covered in the procedure, which is one of the problems that we found. And we found that he has never practiced this before. And we as a supervisor really selected the wrong team to do this job. So these are all human performance problems explaining why this really smart, first of all, why the pump failed, right? Why the equipment didn't work right. And then why a really smart mechanic made this mistake. And we find ourselves digging deep enough to get an actual human performance root causes.
You can get some really good corrective actions out of this.
And that is really the point, right? So what's my corrective action for the situation not covered in the procedure? We're going to update our procedure. It's going to say from now on, make sure the impeller's on the right way. And we're probably going to change how we select our people out there to do these jobs. Make sure I get an experienced guy with a new guy, you know? So I'm not setting this guy up for failure. So there's a lot of great corrective actions that will come out of this that don't involve yelling at the employee or firing the employee.
Or thinking the equipment itself
or just replace the equipment.
Yeah, replace, because they probably a lot of times will just go replace a piece or here or there or try some, and just go through the whole process.
That's right.
First time.
There's no reason to guess.
The whole thing, get guided through the process and get down to the right answer.
That's exactly it. And it gets really expensive if even this time we find the impeller was on wrong, we just flip the impeller over and then that's our only corrective action, because tomorrow
that's not going to help.
Tomorrow when they replace that other pump over there, they're going to do the same thing.
Yeah, and then Steve goes and puts it on the wrong way.
Then Steve puts it on the wrong way again.
Josh the next day puts it on the wrong,
So now I have these pumps that are all screwed up all over the plant that we should have fixed the first time.
That's right.
And it's probably not Steve and Josh's fault at that point,
not.
right?
It is
so,
not.
So
this is great.
That's kind of how you can see how an equipment issue, which like I said, we found probably 90% of equipment issues are actually human performance problems.
90%.
90%.
That's a
so
ton.
if all you're doing is breaking and fixing the equipment, you're really missing 90% of the problems.
Right. And you're probably fixing it a lot.
Continuously fixing
Yeah.
the same problems over and over again.
Well, we can help people get around that and get to the root cause at the very beginning.
That's right.
So you can apply the right corrective actions so that these types of things don't just constantly interrupt your workflow.
Right.
Shutdowns are terrible. It
Expensive.
costs a lot of money.
Expensive. Right.
Exactly. So that's what Equifactor can help you do. And we have a great course in Equifactor, and it's a 2-day course.
It is.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, those 2-day courses are really designed for both your mechanics, obviously, but they're also designed for your engineering guys that go out there. If your HS&E guys are interested, or your quality people are interested in, you're going to have equipment failures during your investigations.
Right.
Hey, it's not bad to go get some training on what kind of equipment failure should we be looking at. How do you apply TapRooT to an equipment failure? So it's a really nice piece of seeing a way of helping your whole investigation team think about how do I approach an equipment failure during an investigation.
Absolutely. What you think at the beginning may not be what you actually find out at the end. So it's worth going through this process to get this right the first time.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we can help you with this. If you want more information on Equifactor, you can go to our website. You can contact us at info@taproot.com. We're happy to help you. We're happy to put you in touch with our expert over here. He's great at demoing this stuff. We're happy to do demos on these types of things.
I love doing it. I just did one yesterday, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, and did a demo on a valve failure and showed just how the system works well, getting, again, beyond what looks like a weld failure and getting right down to an equipment, a human performance problem.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not familiar with TapRooT, we love doing demonstrations on what it's about. Costs you nothing to contact us, and we'll take you through, we'll find out a little bit about what your needs are, and then we'll show you how TapRooT can help you reach your goals and improve your performance and help stop these equipment issues and all these things.
You can bring your executives in and they can kind of see how this works and have an idea in the back of their minds, because they know they got smart people at their companies too, but they can now see how a system like this helps them improve their own employees' performance.
Yeah, and we're happy to do that for you. Like I said, for your charge, you just contact us and we'll set it up through a webinar. It takes about an hour.
Yeah, that's
Easy
about
breezy.
it. Yeah, it's really simple.
Easy breezy. So yeah, go to our website, taproot.com. You can find out more information and contact us. We can set up an on-site. We don't have any public courses set up right now, I don't think.
Not for this year.
The summit
it'll be
right now, but we'll probably have some set up.
There'll be some in the spring.
Yeah.
We'll have some in the spring.
And so you can look at our website of where those are going to be. But like I said, on-sites are our favorites.
They are.
Yeah. We love to come on-site and work with your team. So thank you for joining us. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Like this video if you like what Ken does with Equifactor. He's pretty dandy at it. We're very lucky to have him on our team. Subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell. And otherwise, we'll see you back here next week.
Sounds great.
See ya.
Bye-bye.